cool. I will mute myself.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Good evening and welcome to the 2021 All-Star race for the track at Asheville. Rookies have the advanced rigs and have practiced in these sessions. The Pro League currently are in all of the standard rigs and have had about 10 minutes of practice and 3 seconds of knowing what the track combination was beforehand as we come down into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Rookies remarkably neat up front. The rookies really keeping themselves pretty clean here. Looks like we're getting kind of strung out behind there with something having happened to Chris Ballman. My goodness. Wonder what's happened there on the start. Oh dear. That's not gone well. Everyone using all of the track and then a bit more sometimes. These cars seem to be able to take it quite happily. We are here in the Fiat 128. Front-wheel drive car that take a fair bit of abuse and still come out the other way, pointing in roughly the right direction. As we come around for the end of lap 1, it's Justin from Mark, and it's about 3 wide, it looks like, for third. Oh dear. Oh boy, getting very sideways through Paddock Hill for a few cars there. Mistake we've all made. We spent any meaningful amount of time at Brands Hatch. Here we have another battle for the lead. Looks like Mark has taken over the lead from Justin in the early part of lap 2. Like the highest placed of our pro drivers. They're working their way up, but not the rookies are holding them off pretty well, it would appear. It's amazing what a little bit more practice will do for you. Mark Wall sets the new fastest lap time of 57.14. Oh, looking on the inside. Oh, can Tyler keep it held? He does keep it on the black stuff, but loses the position. I imagine he'll be kicking himself a little bit for that one. Normally one of our more consistent drivers, Tyler. Duncan just throwing it up the inside there. As we come back to our battle for the lead, Mark Wall from Justin. And this is a battle that should develop quite well through this race. These two have a tendency to keep each other honest through our rookie league. Very, very common to see the two of them up toward the front end of the grid. Justin's gaining and might be having a look into Druids here. Yeah, last lap Justin was 0.6 faster than Mark. Ooh, gives it just a little bit too late into Druids though. As Duncan is working his way on Gary here. And I believe Duncan is our highest placed of the Pro League currently. And, my TV director is nodding sagely toward me. This is turning out to be quite an impressive race. I think the largest gap that I'm seeing on track is, apart from those that have run afoul of the track limits, let's say, is only about 5 or 6 seconds. So we're staying remarkably close as we're side by side across the start-finish line. I'm not entirely certain who will have been scored as the leader that time by, and oh no, Mark's gone wrong! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Waited just a touch too late into Paddock Hill. One of the more complex turn ones in the world, frankly. That'll leave Justin in a fair bit of empty air by himself. Let's see if he can keep that space, keep building that gap as he runs over our cameraman. 3 cars now bunched up tight thanks to Mark's, let's say, excursion. Just Mark and Gary going at it with Duncan just sort of hoping they keep losing themselves some time and he can capitalize on that. This will be interesting coming across the start-finish line. Mark tucked up into the toe of Gary Cox here. And Duncan trailing not too far behind the two of them. Oh! Oh no! Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Everyone's come together through Paddock Hill, and that will be Tyler Houston's into third. Through into third there. Looks like everyone's rejoined though. Alright, they can work on just get their heads straight and head down, and we'll try and make up that gap. Because here we have Frank working on Jay Breezy. 2 of our Pro League regulars. No strangers to running wheel to wheel with each other. So they're doing most every Tuesday night here at the track. Frank taking a very different line that looks to be paying off for him. He's going to be right underneath. I was going to say right under the gearbox, but that's not where it is in these cars. Side by side across the start-finish line, looks like Jay Breezy will still be scored as 6th place for that lap. Although Frank manages to keep it on the black stuff, and he's going to benefit from that. In the background, looks like we had Edwin go off a little bit through Paddock Hill as well. I will reiterate, most of these drivers, or about half of these drivers, have only had 10 minutes plus 7 laps of practice on this track and in these cars. Very interesting view now, looking back from our 2nd place driver Duncan Fowler, looking back at Tyler Houston. I will say Justin has managed to pull out quite a gap through the once he got into clean air. He's pulled out about 3 seconds in the last couple of laps over 2nd place. That is to say, an additional 3 seconds. Goes to show you what good being in clean air will do for you. We come on the battle between Duncan and Tyler. Tyler looks to be struggling a little bit through what, for the lack of a better term, is the infield section of this track. Just the section before you would normally turn off, turn hard left onto the Grand Prix circuit. We are going to turn hard right and shortcut back onto the Indy track. But looks like he manages to pull a fair bit of it back through the faster section. It's interesting to find out, as these cars are all identical. Curious to see where exactly that time is being gained and lost. As here we go back to the battle for 5th between Gary and Frank. Gary appearing to be a bit more confident on the brakes than Frank here. Although last time by, Frank was 1.7 seconds quicker. Quite an impressive gap there. They've managed to catch up to Mark, excuse me. I believe that'll be a back marker they've caught up here in the form of the car entered by John Gardner, but not currently being run by John Gardner. Being run by a partner at Blue Ridge Classics. Oh my, as we get quite an interesting battle developing behind this here. Looks like Frank and Jay Breezy are really getting into it. And Gary's also having a bit of a battle here with... my oh my. I stand corrected, it was not Jay Breezy, it was Gary. Oh dear, that's not gone brilliantly. But everybody's still regained... Oh dear. Everyone seems to have rejoined now. Doesn't look like too much time was lost there. Still. Also, as we've seen, these past few laps, it's easy to gain and lose some time in these cars. Through taking different lines and just a little bit more of a, shall we say, sympathetic driving style. Certain drivers are able to make up a fair bit of time down this straight that isn't quite straight. To update you on the leader, Justin McKee setting purple sectors this time by. Purple in sector 1, just slightly off the pace by, looks like about 1,000th of a second in sector 2. So we cut to the battle for second between Duncan and Tyler, down to only about a half a second to 3/4. But Duncan getting the better jump out of the last corner. Pulling away down this front straight. Let's see here. Looks like Tyler getting a better part of him on the brakes there. As we cut back to the battle between Gary and Frank, down to 6/10 again. Again, that battle that was slightly interrupted by an interloper last time by, or possibly the time before, through Druids. They're right back to nose to tail. Can Frank make it happen? No, he cannot. Doesn't quite get enough coming out of Druids here. Let's see what he can do through this infield section. Ooh, bit wide from Gary. Will the number 10 be able to capitalize on that small mistake? He's getting right underneath the rear wheels. Coming onto the straight. Looks like he's going to get a better line. As we see just peeking in the background, I believe that's Jay Breezy peeking into the back of the shot. We go side by side across the line. Who dares to brake later? Looks like it is going to be Mr. Barbershop. Taking that stick quite easily. Looking. Oh dear, oh dear. The inverse of last time's small fracas. Also, I quite enjoy watching these cars come in through Druids, as many of them seem to be rather, let's say, oversteery on the brakes. They are feeling a bit lively under braking, and most of these drivers having to collect them back up and point them in the right direction again. As the gap to the lead is plummeted. I don't know entirely what's happened, but Justin seems to have lost about 4 seconds in the last few laps. My oh my, I'm quite curious what's occurred there. So we cut to the lead. Looks like he may have caught traffic. Always a problem in such races. Traffic giveth, and it also taketh away. We're down to 3.8 seconds for the lead with coming up on 7 laps to go. 2/3 of the way through the race now. Still, everyone keeping remarkably close together. Justin in possibly the most visible car of all on track that I've seen, in that it is almost plain white, but really standing out well and making itself, making good showing for itself, I should say. Cut back to 4th place for Tyler, another one of our younger pros. Again, usually one of our most consistent drivers. May not always be the out-and-out fastest lap, but it will be generally within about 1/10 of itself. He can hold that same pace for the better part of an hour. Here we have 3 cars in shot. My goodness, we're getting really spoiled with this race for closeness. Chris Paulus down in 10th is trying to keep his lap against some of the higher placed cars. Oh, I take it back. It's some cars that have fallen afoul. Gary Cox on a recovery drive here, trying to work his way back up toward the front. That's not going to help him, though, running wide there. Oh dear, oh dear. Do notice battle for 7th is down to about 8/10. We come across the start-finish line for the 16th or 17th time. 16th time for them, excuse me. Last lap, David Gross, 2.2 seconds quicker than Edwin. My goodness. It's going to be quite an interesting battle. I'm curious to see how this develops. As I see the battle for the lead again, Justin's lost another second and a bit over the last lap. He's just lost 4/10 as I'm talking about it. Duncan, and he's gained it right back, so I'm going to presume that's probably down to traffic. Yeah, says he's working his way through the back end of the field. Those drivers who, let's not be mistaken, are still making a pretty good showing for themselves. We remember that some of them have had precisely 30 minutes of practice at this point. Hi, that cameraman is far braver than I. Thank goodness this is virtual. We get a rather interesting line there from Chris Paulus. This is truly a fantastic car and track combination. Really does suit these front-wheel drive, but still reasonably high-powered cars. Somewhat reminiscent of the British Touring Car Championship that has made Brands Hatch quite a nice home for some time now. As we cut to the battle for the lead, down to 3.2 seconds. That was the last check. This is truly going to be interesting as Justin only has to hold off the challenge for about another 3 laps. Looking like he'll probably be able to hold it together, barring any unforeseen mistakes at this point, or errant traffic. It must also be said. We cut to the battle for 7th between Edwin and David Gross. Only down to about 2 seconds, but it looks much closer than that on track as we see them. David Gross will definitely be impressed, be excited to have Edwin in his sights. Again, one of our rookies chasing one of our pro drivers here. Whoa, getting a little bit squirrely there for Edwin. Let's see how that will be capitalized on by David Gross. Someone who's had a bit more practice around here. Hopefully a little bit better idea of what this car might do in such a situation. Now Now we come. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Edwin getting very sideways, looking a bit more Tokyo Drift, less Brands Hatch Indy. And David Gross capitalizing says, thank you very much. I'll take that. Comes through into 7th place on breaking into Druids. Oh dear, the battle for the lead has changed entirely. I'm not certain what's happened here, but Duncan seems to have lost about 10 seconds. I have to presume he's had a bit of an off-track excursion. Not exactly difficult to do here at Brands Hatch, but Justin now have to wonder if he's just going to back off a little bit and bring the car home safely in one piece, as he's now 8.5 seconds up on 2nd place of Mark Wall. And the battle for the final podium position is heating up as we have Tyler Houston only 6 tenths, I should say. My, he's catching really rather rapidly. And he seems to be one of the quicker drivers down the front straight as well. This could be interesting as we come down to the start-finish line. We come down to the final lap. White flag is out for them all. Tyler 6 tenths quicker last time by. Can he make it past on this final lap for the final podium position? It looks like we had Edwin, I believe that was spinning. No, I take it back. It was the car entered by John Gardner. Oh dear! And that's the battle for the final spot of the podium. They've spun each other coming out of Druids. They got tangled up in someone else's battle. Looks like Tyler is the one to have benefited the most from that. As we see here, Justin McKee coming across to take the checkered flag for the AllStar race. Justin McKee, our victor in race 1. Mark Wall coming around to take 2nd place, barring any incident with this lap traffic. We see the battle for 3rd and 4th is only 6 tenths. My goodness. Half a second as they cross the line to take the checkered flag. And Duncan Fowler coming through in 5th place. 6th, we have Jay Breezy working his way through. Looking like he'll be pretty safely in 6th place. My, that was quite an exciting 21 laps. Only about 20 minutes of on-track action. Edwin comes through in 8th place to take the checkered flag. And Gary Cox following shortly thereafter in 9th. And Kyle Dreyer pretending this is a rally Fiat for a moment as he comes through to... oh, he's... Forgive me. No, he's coming through to take 10th place. Yes, as we cross the line. I wasn't entirely certain how this timing screen was going to display that. Kyle Dreyer comes in to round out the top 10, and Chris Palmas in 11th. Our final finisher, the car entered by John Gardner, but being run by Blue Ridge Classics, who, it must be said, found out was entering this race about 2 minutes before the race start. So we get to our session results. Justin McKee takes the win from Mark Wall, from Tyler Houston, Frank LaBarbershop, Duncan Fowler. 6th place, Jay Breezy. 7th, we have David Gross. 8th, Edwin. 9th place, Gary Cox. 10th place, Kyle Dreyer. And just to round out the last 2, we have Chris Palamas, followed by our special guest entrant in 12th place. Still making pretty impressive showing for having very little experience here at the track. Thank you very much. Join us in a few moments for race 2. And welcome back for the start of race 2 of the All-Star race here at the track at Asheville. Having a bit of a conversation with the drivers between races. Oh dear, someone's jumped the start. Who was this on, that'd be 3rd or 4th place? I believe it's Chris Palamas jumps the start. Oh, someone else, oh, looks like we're gonna get a restart on this race. Okay, a little bit of added excitement for the beginning of race 2, which is a reverse grid of the finish from race 1. Having a bit of a conversation with the drivers between sessions. Looks like a lot of what was lost in time for Justin McKee in the last couple of laps is back marker fighting to keep their lap back as it was coming down to the finish, and doing a pretty good job of blocking Justin, keeping Justin behind him. Justin knew he had the time to give. And lights go out, and a terrible start from Chris Palamas. My goodness, he's going to get absolutely swamped by the field. We're 3 and 4 wide, and oh dear, car 17, Jay Breezy spun around backwards into turn 1. That will come back to bite him. But David Gross also having issues. Oh dear, everyone seems to be off at Paddock Hill. I don't know what's happening, to be fair. Alright, let's wait for this to sort itself out, and looks like Justin McKee already up to 6th place, taking over 6 positions in turn 1 and 2. Our winner of race 1, who it must be said is in our rookie league, taking on fight to all the pros. Oh my, excuse me as I try and gather myself for what's just occurred in the first couple of sectors. I'm going to need to get this straightened out. Looks like the battle for first is down to 1/10 between Kyle Dreyer and Frank. And not too far behind is Edwin. Oh dear, as 2 of them go wide, and Frank will be through into the lead. Both drivers opting to keep their foot in it and hope the car will sort itself out, as it does. Thankfully, we have damage turned off here at the track at Asheville, so both drivers able to resume and regain track position without too much of a fuss, just a little bit of time loss. As the battle for second is about 5 or 6 cars, it would appear. My goodness, to harken back to the old days of the BTCC. Our leader is Frank LaBarbershop, and everyone is second. The battle for third place all the way down to 6th, being covered by about a second on track. We have Kyle Dreyer from Justin McKee, from Duncan Fowler and Edwin Broom, some of our quicker drivers from race 1, as the fastest lap gets set by Frank LaBarbershop at 58.2 seconds here on the first flying lap. But oh dear, Edwin going wide again. Justin capitalizing up into 3rd place already from our 12th place starter. Oh dear, looking like the battle for, I was going to say 3rd, but it's the battle for 3rd through 6th are all right on top of each other. Door mirror to door mirror through the infield section here at Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. All trying to get tucked up underneath the rear end of the car in front for this nice long front straight. Get that toe. Hopefully be able to pop that advantage into Paddock Hill. As Frank goes fastest again. Purple from our leader, shaving a full second off of his first lap time. Oh dear, oh dear! Well done, Duncan, on Edwin. That was a beautiful move. Oh, as the 2 behind him get together a little bit. Oh dear, they're going to be kicking themselves a little for that one. But both able to resume the race. Still a fairly long way to go. Still another 16, 17 laps of this race 2. We move now to the battle for 3rd place Third currently held by Justin McKee, being chased down by Duncan Fowler. Duncan managing to escape that crash, and my goodness, Frank shaving again almost another second off of his fastest time as our leader just runs away with this, quite happily saying thank you very much to those fighting behind him. Justin in third place is catching Gary in second to try and make this a 5-way battle for second instead of 4-way for third. Gary getting a better exit out of that corner, though. Forgive me for not knowing all the corner names here at Brands Hatch. Duncan keeping Justin within striking distance. If this were Formula One or our Formula Pro League, he'd be within DRS range for this front straight, under a second at about 8/10. Frank shaving another half a second off his fastest lap. My goodness. This is truly just setting a masterclass on how to set hot laps here. Bringing his lead in first place out to 4.5 seconds. Oh, but he's lost half a second there. Oh, never mind. That appears to be a timing glitch. Forgive me for getting a little bit excited over nothing. That being said, Jack getting excited over nothing, that is absolutely a shocker. It's never happened before. Almost certainly will never happen again. See here the battle for 7th between Jay Breezy, Mark Wall, and David Gross, all within about a second of each other, and Justin making it happen on Gary. Coming onto the front straight, but will he be able to keep that? Coming into Paddock Hill, looks like that's going to be a yes, but yes, definitely. He's pulling a gap through the front straight here. Oh my, now let's see if Justin can head down and make up that time that Frank was, make up that gap to Frank like he did in the first race, pulling away from the lead. Justin really showing through as a star on this All-Star race. We've cut now to Jay Breezy versus Chris Palmas. Chris trying to just get it a little bit later through turn 1. Making a very nice move as someone in the background tries rallycross line. Chris Palmas trying to get the best exit possible out of every one of these corners, just to be able to tuck it up underneath, as it's going to be nose to tail in the background there for between. Forgive me, Chris and Jay Breezy are very, very tight with one car right behind them as well. Chris, Jay Breezy, and Tyler Houston all very... Oh, dear, Breezy. Chris is going to come through for the final position, possibly across the line. Nope, looks like Breezy's going to be able to hold him off, but Tyler's coming hunting now. Tyler's going to get him into C1. He's certainly having a look. Not going to make it stick, but he's going to definitely have him set up here in the Druids. And keep it easy, gents. Let's keep it nice and clean. And they do. Well done, lads. Very, very easy to overcook that and wind up taking out your competitor, but both of them giving each other sufficient room. As we see Duncan Fowler in 4th place, down to 6/10, trying to catch Gary Cox. This is quite an exciting couple of races. I need a moment to collect myself, I think. We look back further down the field. Again, the battle for 9th and 10th, down to a 10th for the second. My, these battles back in the field are really just developing beautifully. And John Gardner's car, being entered by Ralph from Blue Ridge Classics, having a much nicer showing this time than last, now that he's got himself a little bit of practice. He was a lap down in the last race. However, it does bear mentioning that he's had the least practice of anybody here, as even the pro drivers who didn't know the car or track combination have at least driven these rigs before. Ralph has never really done either. Did not know the track or car combination and had very little experience in these sims, so he is making a very impressive showing this time around. Keeping on with the tail end of this field and really trying to keep him honest. Oh dear. Battle for third down to 8 or 9 tenths. We remind you the social media at the track at Asheville, hashtag the track Asheville, and hashtag 828 is great. Fantastic. Just call out to our hosts here. And looks like Gary's got Justin in his sights now. He's still about 2.5 seconds off, but he can see him up the road, which is an incredible motivator. To be able to see the guy you're racing and not just be watching a number. And Justin keeping Frank honest at about 6 seconds as well. Not really gaining or losing any time, but he's or too much time over this stint, but he's definitely keeping him honest. As we have the battle for 7th between Kyle Dreher and David Gross. Only about 3 car lengths as they hit the brakes into Druids. Down to 4 and a bit tenths, call it half a second, as the third car appears in the background of Tyler Houston. Excuse me, excuse me, I've gotten myself confused over the similar looking cars. This is the battle for 8th between David Gross, or battle for 9th between Jay Breezy, Tyler Houston, and Chris Paulamus. Forgive me for confusing you, dear listener. Oh, and it would appear Jay Breezy attempting to take the Grand Prix circuit there for a moment, forgetting what track we're racing on, and Tyler and Chris go through. Breezy down into the final position now. That's going to be a bit costly. Although, thankfully, he did notice his mistake and not try and drive the entire Grand Prix loop. Oof. Tyler Houston there bumping it off the limiter on the down change into Paddock Hill. Thankfully, no mechanical failures. Otherwise, those valves might have come out and started dancing on the hood for him. Yep. Down, still only about a half a second for this battle. My goodness, this is close. As we go back to the battle for third place between Gary Cox and Duncan Fowler, 8 tenths. Dear me, this is an impressive race between 12 of our most talented drivers here at the track. Here, it's impressive our level of talent and parity between drivers here. Looking now to our leader, Frank, as he comes around to complete lap 13, leaving us with about 8 laps to go as he'll crosses our finish line. Looking at his recent lap times, though, he's losing quite a bit in each sector. I'm wondering if he's perhaps pushed a bit too early, or a bit too hard too early, and his tires are starting to complain. As he is about a second and a half off his quickest time. Gary and Justin also having a game. Justin gaining 4 tenths that last lap on Frank. Justin does tend to be a bit gentler on his tires. May not always have the out-and-out pace, but he can maintain it for a longer time. Frank more of a qualifying specialist, if you will. So we cut now to David Gross, trying to hold off Kyle Dreher, about a second down the road from him. Now we go to the battle for third, still between Gary Cox and Duncan Fowler. These two have been fighting for about the last 10 laps, it feels like. Trying desperately to find the advantage over each other. And neither one really able to find the upper hand as someone's moving slowly. And that seems to have... Oh my, that's allowed Gary Cox in through past Justin McKee for second place. what has occurred? Looking at the timing, I have to wonder if that lap traffic got in the way and perhaps made a bit of contact with Justin as he was trying to work his way through the field. Anyway, Gary seems to be saying, thank you very much, I'll take that. Duncan now working on Justin McKee. Trying to come out a little bit wider and take a narrower line. No. Seems to not be paying off for him, though, onto this front straight. Let's find out in a second. Gary losing the position back to Justin, and looks like he's about to lose it to Duncan as well. Not entirely certain who Dustin is, but he seems like a nice chap. Duncan barely keeping it on the gray stuff as he's side by side with Gary. Oh, beautiful, beautiful show of respect between the two of them this last half a lap or so. Both fighting each other quite hard, but giving each other a little bit of room. Duncan tries to get the car tucked up as much as he can, close up as much as possible, as Edwin seems to have gone wide through the infield in 5th place. Working his way through lap traffic as we cut back to the battle for 2nd place. On the front straight, Duncan trying to just hold on as much as he can on the back of Gary Cox's 128. Frank's lead out to 11.1 seconds, just to keep you up to date. So we have 5 laps remaining on this in this All-Star night. Oh, Duncan trying to take it the long way around. Is he going to be able to get the switch back? No, not going to make it happen. As they are, though, reeling back in Justin McKee. That gap down to 7/10. Justin appears to have caught some lap traffic that slowed him up a bit. This is a most impressive race evening here. As Duncan's trying, he's down to only about a quarter of a second behind Gary Cox here. He may have popped out a bit too early. Oh no, he's trying to take advantage of the tow from Justin. But is he going to get run a bit wide? Looks like he may have done. No, he's not. He's kept it clean. Well done, gentlemen. And he's made the pass on Gary Cox into 3rd place, that would be. Frank again is saying, thank you very much for having your own battle between each other. I'll take advantage of that. Up to 13.5 seconds in the lead. Truly running away with this one. But as it must be said, was demonstrated by some of our drivers in the first race, that 13-second gap can disappear in an instant. All it takes is one small mistake and you can be off into the wall at this place. Not like some of the Formula One tracks that we visit where you have about 100,000 yards before you can hit anything meaningful. Brands Hatch does punish you for certain mistakes, even small ones. We have bit of in-car radio. It would appear that Mark Wall in 6th place is sent a message to Edwin in 5th asking if he could slow down. That'd be a bit nice so we could catch up, but something tells me Edwin will not acquiesce to that particular inquiry. My goodness, we are being spoiled with this battle for 2nd. Seems to have gone on for the last 10 or 15 laps. With 2 and 3 cars running nose to tail. Duncan looking like he might have a look into Paddock Hill here. No, decides discretion's the better part of valor. I'll try it next time by, perhaps. But still closing up nicely onto the tail end of Justin McKee here. Oh no, he's just gone a little bit too late on the brakes and the rear end came around on him. That's most unhappy for him. Drivers seeming to be thinking there was some contact there. Without a replay, I'm not entirely certain, but it really looked like the rear end just stepped out on him. Perhaps just a bit too hard on the brakes. We see now following Justin McKee in second place with about a 2-second gap to third. It's about the largest I've seen the gap from second to third, and feels like half an hour. We look back now through the field, just working our way down. Maybe a quick rundown of our top 5 is Frank in first, from Justin McKee, from Gary Cox, from Edwin, from Duncan. All staying reasonably close together, apart from that 13 seconds from Justin and Frank. Excuse me, now 14 seconds. Frank absolutely running away with this. Would appear my earlier speculation about his tires may have been somewhat misplaced. That being said, his last lap was, one he's just finished, was a full 2 seconds off of his best pace. As we cross the start, take the checkered flag. My, that snuck up on me. We were spoiled in that race, and I somewhat lost track of the lap count. But looks like our winner for race 2 is Frank LaBarbershop, followed by Justin McKee, Gary Cox, Edwin, Broom, Duncan Fowler, Mark Wall. As Duncan takes the line now, Mark coming across to take the checkered flag. Tyler in 7th, rounding the start-finish line any moment now, and takes the checkered flag. From Kyle Dreyer in 8th place, as we go down to Chris Palamas in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, we should have oh it's our celebration. Oh no, our celebration appears to have taken off our 10th place driver. No, never mind, he's already taken the checkered flag. Excuse me. My apologies. Everyone's now taken the finish. As we go to our results for race 2, Frank LaBarbershop in P1, followed by Justin McKee. Rounding out the podium is Gary Cox. 4th place, Edwin Vroom. Last in 5th place, we have Duncan Fowler. 6th, Mark Wall. 7th, Tyler Houston. 8th place, Kyle Dreyer. 9th, Chris Palamas. 10th, David Gross. 11th place and 12th, both also taking the checkered flag there. As forgive me, my timing screen is malfunctioning a little bit. 10th place, 11th place, our guest entrant, and 12th place, Jay Breezy, after a bit of a, shall we say, excursion onto a different layout of the track. Thank you very much for joining us on this evening's stream for the All-Star Night at the track at Asheville. Race 1 winner, Justin McKee. Race 2, Frank LaBarbershop. We look forward to seeing you next time we stream. I believe that will be next Tuesday night for our Pro League, excuse me. I believe it's our Formula One League next Tuesday night. I don't entirely remember where they are, but I'm sure it'll be a wonderful evening. Look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much. Have a good night.